Hey, big dreamers. This is Olgakarpman, Sophia and Eva's mom. Are you ready to have your minds blown? This week, while Sophia and Eva are off at camp enjoying their vacation, we're bringing you a special rebroadcast of one of our all-time favorite episodes. Originally, we recorded this episode in 2018 when Eva was just the same age as Sophia now. This episode takes us into the extraordinary world of mentalism with the amazing Oz Pearlman. And Oz blew our minds by knowing exactly what we were thinking. Yes, live over the phone. Whenever you're new to the Dream Big podcast or a long-time listener, we thought it would be cool to dive back into this gem that might have gotten lost in our timeline. This is episode 412 of the Dream Big podcast, and it's time to dream big.
Hi, it's evakarpman, and you're listening to the Dream Big Podcast Show, the place to go to learn, laugh, and grow. Today we welcome Mentalist Oz Pearlman, my favorite contestant ever on America's Got Talent, and he does not disappoint in this episode. You ready? It's time to dream big.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. We're inspiring you to shoot for the moon, take aim and go. We bring to you amazing guests who truly love what they do. Every day they're living their dreams, and so can you. Dream big, take action to reach your goals. Are you pumped yet? It's showtime, let's rock and roll.
Welcome to the Dream Big Podcast Show. I am your host, Steve Cartman. And today, I'd like to start with a quick shout out to the review of the week. This is from Tyla and reads, My name is Tyla. I'm 7 years old in grade 1 in Johannesburg, South Africa. My mom subscribed to your podcast for me today, and I want to listen every day in the car to school so I can have a good attitude to make my day great. Thank you for the podcast. Love, Tyla. How sweet, Tyla. Thank you for that thoughtful review. It means the world to me. Big dreamers, if you would like to hear me possibly read your review on the show, then be sure to leave a review on iTunes. We're so grateful for your support. It's time for you all to enjoy one of the most entertaining episodes we've ever released. Oz Pearlman is a master mentalist. My family and I became huge fans of his when he was on America's Got Talent a few years ago. He also even reads my mind and my mom's mind on this episode. We were using Skype with no video, just audio. I still get goosebumps just thinking about it. And without further ado, here's our interview with Oz Pearlman. Let's roll the tape. Hi, Oz. It is so exciting to have you on the show.
Thanks so much.
We are huge fans of America's Got Talent, and you were our favorite act by far when you were on the show.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate it.
And
terrific. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And to all the big dreamers in our audience, we will be putting links to Oz's videos in our show notes. You just must watch his videos. You know, let's start with a simple question, because on America's Got Talent, you were referred to as the Mentalist. And I know while a lot of our audience know what a magician is, not everyone may be familiar with the term mentalist. Can you tell me what that means?
So a mentalist is kind of a specialty. So think about if you were ever to go see a doctor and you just went to a doctor because, everything hurts. You just go to a regular doctor. But if, for example, just your finger hurts, then you would go to somebody who specializes in just your fingers, right? So instead of me doing things that involve sleight of hand, now mind you, I can do magic, but what I've specialized in is magic of the mind. So mentalism, there's really not a lot of props. It's more a sense of reading people, knowing their body language, their psychology, and how to influence them. Most mentalists started as magicians, and then more and more they got rid of the props, and they were able, instead of having somebody pick a card, they just knew what card they were going to think of. So it's a more unique trade than just a magician.
That's cool. And I'm curious what drew you to focus on mentalism over traditional magic.
So what happened was, as you kind of proceed within magic, I would start noticing patterns in people. So if you have 500 people a week pick a card out of a deck of cards, you do it over and over and over, you start realizing, oh, this woman seems like she's in her 30s, she's friendly, she did this, she did that. I think she's going to go with a heart, and I, for some reason, think she's going to somehow go for the 7 of hearts. And I started getting it right more and more. And I started realizing this isn't exactly magic, this is a different field. And as I got a little bit better at it, I slowly got more and more into mentalism. It wasn't one day I just became a mentalist. It was I'd be about 90% a magician, 10% a mentalist. Then a year later, 50-50. And it's something you need to get comfortable with because it's very, very difficult at first. So what drew me to it was just that it was the next step. Think of it as taking magic to another level entirely. When you don't need any props, you can just walk into a room with nothing and you can freak people out for, an hour.
Yeah.
Is it something that anyone can learn?
I'm sorry?
Is it something that anyone can learn how to do?
So I think anyone can learn it, but I'm not certain that anyone can become a pro at it. So there might be a limit, kind of the same way that there's a talent involved in if you're a musician. If you tried having me sing, you could teach me for the next 5 years. I will never be, Adam Levine or Tony Bennett. I have the worst tone and pitch in the world. But some people, they get on, they play violin and they're an expert. They know what they're doing. You still need hard work, but you need a talent. So anybody could learn a few tricks, but to really get great at it, it takes some sort of talent.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm curious if you and other mentalists and magicians work together to come up with new tricks. Do you consider...
Absolutely.
And
it's a very helpful craft. So
yeah.
You would think we're more secretive of the public, our audiences, but once you attain a certain level, you end up being friends with a lot of other people that do what you do, especially ones that are notable and we know each other. And it's exactly right. For example, on America's Got Talent, a lot of the time you have to design a entirely new, incredible routine in less than a week, and you're going to be doing it for tens of millions of people. So I assure you, we work together. We help each other out.
Yeah, it's really a good strategy because then you can learn more things and you can be more communicative with other people and
it's collaboration.
Yeah.
And I bet that you develop a lot of skills like that, right?
For sure.
You learn more about your craft and you practice more. So, tell us a little bit more about your experience on America's Got Talent. How did you was it always your big dream to be on America's Got Talent?
So I have a very good friend, one of my best friends, his brother lives in Florida and is a huge, huge fan of Howard Stern and America's Got Talent. For years, he kept telling me, you got to go on the show. You got to go on the show. You're going to do so great. And then I tried out about 4 years before I got on, and I didn't make it. And then, they say, if you don't succeed, try again. So the next year I couldn't do it. The next year I couldn't do it. Both of which years I was working. I had events. I think it was 3 or 4 years later, 4 seasons later, I went and, found the time, made it happen, tried out, and that was the year I made it. So I got into the show because he was so excited about it and started watching it around season 7 and was a fan of the show. And then as a fan of the show, it was very exciting to actually be on the show.
You always say everything happens for a reason and everything happens at the right time. And if you big dreamers have your big dreams and sometimes one door closes,
then yeah, and also like that other kind of like saying if like you're on a bike and if you fall off 6 times, get up 7.
Exactly. So, can you tell us how did it all start for you? Like, how did you discover this talent?
Well, I started as a teenager. So when I was 13, my family went on a cruise. It was kind of a big party for my bar mitzvah. Instead of having a party, we went on the cruise together. First time I ever did that, and we all came together. And on the cruise ship, there was a magician. I'd never seen a magician before in person ever. And after that, I was intrigued. I was blown away. I got back home. I took out and checked out every single book at the library. I saved up some money. I started buying books at Borders, which doesn't even exist anymore, but it was like the Barnes and Nobles. And I would read these books cover to cover again and again, practice them for hours and hours and hours. There was really no shortcut. The best way with especially entertainment and with a lot of different crafts is you need to really commit yourself to it and practice, practice, practice. Like you said, you learn a lot more from your failures than your successes. So like you said, 6 times you fall off the bike, you need to get up 10, 20, 30 times. You have to keep going for it because not everything happens quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And for kids who are interested in becoming a magician or maybe even a mentalist, what are some good first steps?
I'm a big fan of books. Videos are also great, but books allow you to interpret them in your own way. You know, when you're reading a book, you get to use your imagination, you get to fill in the blanks, you can create the world yourself. That's what, I mean, I enjoy reading books almost more than seeing the movie of the book, always. So if you get a book, it's much more value. And I can give great suggestions for books. I started with card tricks. I love card tricks. Then I started learning coin tricks. And when you learn these, you learn how to apply yourself, how to learn sleight of hand. And more important is something called misdirection. Misdirection is a huge part of magic and a big part of mentalism, which is I will make you look over in a certain direction when I'm doing something in the other direction. So you're not fooling somebody's eyes by moving so fast. You're simply making them look away at the moment when you're doing something sneaky. And that's how so much of magic works.
That's cool.
So big dreamers, make sure if you're interested in magic, start practicing that. And remember, as Oz says, always practice, practice, practice. And don't get discouraged if something doesn't work according to your plan or something doesn't work right away.
Yeah. And I'm curious what you do. What do you do when a trick is not going according to plan? How do you handle that kind of situation?
Absolutely. So that's where you learn the most. Honestly, not everything always works. And if it did, the show would get very boring, especially in a mind reading and mentalism show, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's very unpredictable. It's not, it's not a card trick where you pick one, you put it back, and I know how to do the move. So a lot of the time, if you're really sharp and you've planned ahead, you don't even know when something didn't go right, if that makes sense. You honestly, you don't know when it didn't work because you don't necessarily know the ending. Do you understand what I mean? If I tell you in advance, here's how it's going to end, then you go, oh, okay, let's see how it ends. But if you watch a movie and you don't know how it's going to end, and then you watch and they have a director's cut. Are you familiar with the director's cut where they show here's another ending and another ending and another ending? And it could have been any of these 4, and you had no idea that could even exist. So when I do a lot of what I do, there's an element of surprise where you didn't see it coming. For example, on America's Got Talent, I did one where I had a jar full of gumballs and everyone guessed how many was in there. And then there's a big reveal on Instagram. And then the part that you didn't even expect was Nick Cannon reached inside. He took out a receipt, and on the receipt was printed all the numbers they guessed. It was a huge, so that you didn't even see that coming. I never told you that would happen. So obviously if that wouldn't have worked, I would have never done it. But so what I'm saying is you don't really know where it's going to work, where it's going to go. And a lot of time, I don't even mind if things go wrong in a bigger show. If you're on TV for 4 minutes, yes, you don't want it to go wrong. But if in a longer show, not getting things right makes everything else seem stronger. I don't mind if things don't always go perfectly right. People prefer the human element.
Yeah, because that makes it kind of more interesting. And if something goes wrong during a performance, there's a really good chance that the audience may not even notice it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of times that people perform and
yeah, we watched a video and yeah, like Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez, and Beyonce, and all of them were tripping on the stage, and they just kept on singing as if nothing happened.
So it's a good lesson for our big dreamers. If things don't go perfectly the way you want it, just keep on going and keep on trying. What's it called? Go with the flow, right, Eva?
Yeah.
That's great. So we talked a little bit about your journey, Oz, and what is your big dream for the future?
So right now I'm launching a big show in New York. It's called Truth Be Told. We sold out all the tickets. We just ended last week, and it was such a huge hit. And there's so many hundreds of people that couldn't get tickets that we're going to continue it in January, and we're moving to an even bigger theater. So that's the dream that's on the horizon, right? That's not the big dream. The other big dream is just to continue doing big TV appearances, which I've done nonstop since America's Got Talent, and hopefully get my own TV show. So that's really what I'm working on so strongly and with all my efforts right now. And that's I don't want to let you in on anything yet, but there's definitely big things coming up in 2018.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
We'll be watching. We're big fans.
Terrific.
And how do you think the skills of being a magician or mentalist can help you in other areas in life?
I think I've always been a big proponent of learning magic tricks, no matter what. Even if you don't want to be a magician or a mentalist, everybody loves magic. People love to be amazed. When I was growing up, I did magic on the side. And then after I went to school. I went to the University of Michigan. I didn't study magic. I studied electrical engineering. I worked on Wall Street afterwards. So go figure, I was not on the fast track to being an entertainer. This was something I did on the side to pay for college and to do these other things. So why do I mention this? When I would go into an interview, and somebody interviews me and they're interviewing another 30 people that day, what sets you apart? On my resume, it said professional magician. And people would look at that and go, what do you mean you're a professional magician? I go, at the end, if we have a minute, let me show you something. And I can assure you, every single interview, no matter what I was interviewing for, if I did something incredible at the end of that interview, shook their hand, said goodbye, they are going to remember me more than every other one of those people that are going to be there. And that's not just for a job interview. That's in life. If you have something fun that can break the tension, that can break the ice in any situation, whether you're getting a job, whether you're at school, whether you want to meet new people, you want to make friends, all of those things, magic is a great way to do that. For a lot of people that tend to be shy, especially teenagers, kids, I found that it's a great way to open up your personality, to allow you to get instant feedback from people where they smile, they laugh, they like you, and then you transition. You don't just keep doing magic, but it allows you to break the ice, like I said.
Yes, and
Yeah.
a lot of times it can be a smile or a joke. So for our big and little dreamers out there, it's good to have a couple of those tricks in your sleeve.
Yeah, and you can just pick up the fun skill and it'll entertain your friends, and also if it can help you be more confident and help you succeed in life generally, because you'll gain confidence, be a better communicator, and know how to connect with an audience.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And if you want to pick up some tricks, there's a great website. It's a bunch of my friends from college started it. It became huge. It's the biggest online magic retailer. They're called penguinmagic.com. Christmas, Hanukkah's coming up. If anybody's looking for, exactly like you said, a few cheap, easy tricks to learn for beginners, that site is incredible. That's the one I always recommend. I'm sure your little and big dreamers would love it. If they do have that magic bug where they want to learn a few tricks, that's one of the great ones. They have the books, the videos, and they have actually little tricks that you can learn. There's videos with them that teach you how to do them.
Yeah.
We'll include all the links in our show notes, as our big dreamers know about. We have more questions, and we would like to ask you, first of all, is what is your favorite magic trick to date? Do you have any?
It's very difficult to say. You know, it all depends on the situation, the setting. A lot of the things I did in America's Got Talent, because they were for such a vast audience where I knew tens of millions of people around the world were watching them, I was quite proud of, especially some of the ones that were original that I created for the show that no one's ever done before. My finale was with these colored chairs. I don't want to spoil it, but it was really different and unique. No one's ever done anything like that on that show before. And it was risky. So that's the other thing. People watching it didn't realize that it was a very dangerous routine to do because it could go wrong. And it was big risk, big reward. So I really went for it, and I was quite proud of that. That's definitely one of my favorites.
That's awesome. Is there any trick here we can do live right now with us?
Well, let's try something fun. So, Eva, I want you to imagine a globe can you picture a globe?
Yeah.
And you know how they're going to have all the continents. Now, don't say anything, but imagine you spin the globe, and it's mostly water, of course. And Eva, you spin it around, you spin it fast, and then you let it slow down, and then you bring your finger and you stop on one very specific city. Now, this place, really important. You've never been there before, so that's really important. The place that I want you to focus on is one you haven't been there before. Is that correct? I want to make sure.
Yeah.
And I want you to go there and imagine that you're in that place and you're looking around and you're spinning around, you're looking here, you're looking there. Are there things that you would recognize in that city, or is it completely new to you? Or have you ever read about it or seen it in the movies?
It's completely new to me.
So I want you to imagine that somebody walks up to you and they can't believe their eyes. They go, oh my goodness, it's evakarpman. I listen to your podcast every day. And they come up and they speak to you, and don't say anything, but think of the language. If you could understand it, if you can't see, I know that you can understand the language. I could tell right there. You didn't pause or anything. I think this person speaks English. I think that this person speaks English in a different accent. This is in England. Are you thinking of London?
Yes. That's so
Did you
cool.
ever tell me that? Did you tell anyone other? I mean, maybe your mom or your dad, obviously, but did you ever tell me or anything before we got on the phone? There's no way I could have
No.
known that, could I?
No way.
And Olga, let's imagine when you mentioned how do you learn magic? And I said, imagine that you have a book and that you read books about it and videos. Now imagine that you have a book and that you flip open this book and you rip out a word on a page, and that word is one that you've been thinking of and you don't even know why you picked it, and you can see it. And Eva doesn't even know what word it is, does she? Okay. Can you think of the first letter? Don't say the first letter, but think of it right now.
Yep.
Have you got it?
Yep.
Now, there's two different kinds of letters. There's vowels and there's consonants, right? A-E-I-O-U. Can you say that for me? Say A-E-I-O-U.
A-E-I-O-U.
Okay, you got a little excited at the end. I wonder, the word you're thinking of, it doesn't start with a vowel, does it?
No.
Okay, I did. Okay, go. And now imagine the other ones. So when I say the other ones, the other letters are, of course, going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, minus the A, E, I, O, U. The first letter of your word. It's very difficult on the phone. Think of the last letter. Can you do that for me? Think of the last letter.
Yeah.
It's not a D, is it?
No.
Okay, go back to the first letter. And N. It's not an N, is it? And then, I don't know. The second letter. Go back to the first again. Tell me that first letter. Say it out loud.
C.
C?
Yeah.
Like C like Charlie. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then go back. I thought she's thinking of a city, but I think yours is more to do with an action. And the word, it's an O. C-O-N-S. Constantly. Is the word constantly?
That's so cool.
I try. See, usually I can get if we were in person, I could tell you the first letter instantly. But when we're here, I'm just listening to your reactions. I can't see your face. It's 100 times harder over the phone.
That's so cool. And the fact that you even guess like the accent of in London, like I was actually like the first time, like you said, I like caught on the accent really quickly.
We never ever talked about it. We never discussed that.
Yeah.
Share, like I knew Eva's favorite city. I thought she might get that, but
yeah, because I never been to London before.
Well, you'll have to do it. London's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Magic tricks, right? And the word action is perfect for practicing it constantly.
Yeah, you do it constantly.
Yes. So back to our conversation. If you want to learn something and be as magical as Oz is, so practice it constantly.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Bravo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It was such a pleasure. I can't wait to listen to it. And I love what you're doing. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Question again, where we can find more about you.
So the best place is going to be either my website or on social media, because everybody's on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. I post quite often. It's at Oz the Mentalist. So if you want to look me up, it's Oz the Mentalist. And then my website is ozpearlman.com. That's ozpearlman.com. I'm sure you'll post it. I'm on the Today Show quite often on TV, on NBC. And I post all the things I want on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram. And you can see all my TV stuff. There's dozens and dozens. You can waste hours watching me read people's minds.
Okay, awesome.
And for our last question.
Loves to wrap up the interview. So I jumped in and asked her a question, but Eva, go on.
What's the craziest thing a fan said to you?
So I have a lot of people that when they see my show, because it's like you said, it tends to be extraordinary, especially when you do things that are very in depth, where I tell people things that they swear not even their parents would know, not even their brothers and sisters would know, things that are so secretive. They go, there's no way you could have known that. People will think I'm psychic, and I am not psychic. It's a skill that you can learn. It's not a supernatural ability. So people will just come up to me and they will ask me to talk to dead people, and they'll tell me what are the lottery numbers. I've gotten a lot of crazy requests, and I usually tell people I can't do that. I'm so sorry. If I could win the lottery, I would have done it by now. I swear if I could, I would have won by now. So that's one of the most popular ones.
Thank you, Oz. You are very magical. And
Yeah.
thank you for sharing your
Thank
talent.
you.
And big dreamers definitely follow Oz and his magic tricks and his performances. And look out for the sold-out shows and his appearances on TV. We will be following you, and one day we will meet you in person.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I hope to see you here in New York or maybe in your area. All right. Bye, Olga.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Eva.
Bye. How amazing was that episode, Big Dreamers? Oz is truly magical, and we were so excited to introduce him to all of you.
Big dreamers, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed recording it with Eva. Wasn't Oz amazing? I still don't understand how did he read our mind over the phone. All the show notes that we mentioned in this episode you can find at dreambigpodcast.com/412. And of course, don't forget to follow us on social media, and all the links we mentioned will be in the description of this episode. I hope you're having a great time with us, and for the next few weeks, we will be rebroadcasting more of our favorite interviews, and then Sophia will be back from camp with new stories, new adventures, ready to rock and roll and share with you her wisdom.
Thank you so much for tuning in. This is evakarpman reminding you that you have unlimited potential. Your dreams are not optional. You need to make them essential. So take massive action to turn those big dreams into reality. Live with passion the way life is meant to be. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!